It's 7 o'clock. We will call the meeting to order. Call the roll. Everybody here except Corey. Okay. I assume that everybody's had a chance to read the minutes of the September 13th meeting. They were sent out in a timely manner. Any additions or corrections? If not, I would ask for a motion to approve as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, I have a motion
September meeting.
to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, a motion from Eddie, a second from Matt. All in favor of approving the minutes of the September 13th meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, anything under clerk's report?
Just a couple of small things. I think everybody, except for Steve, unfortunately, has received the video. With the ethics training, I have viewed the video signature pages back from almost everybody. So those of you who have not signed your papers and turned them in, if you could do so, that'd be great. You can scan and email. If you need another copy, I am happy to email one to you. And I think that's, no, sorry, one more thing. The town currently does not have letterhead, and it would be nice if we could get some letterhead since we're a real town. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay.
I have some letterhead.
Does it have the correct address? Because I know we have a
It says
huge
P.O. Box 9, I think.
That's the correct.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. That is correct.
I'll give you one.
Do you have some,
Perfect.
Susie?
Can
I have a
you
little
use
bit.
yours?
Okay,
Yeah,
well, we
if it-
probably ought to get you
Let's
moving
go
forward.
to town hall on it. So yeah, I found a box, but it had the
It
old
has its little
P.O. box on it.
town of Pitkin, built something up there and then
Town hall.
an address, and it's kind of in the center of the,
Cool.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, if you could.
Okay, as a procedural thing, we're gonna have to hold off on the treasurer's report till we vote on the clerk's pay scale, because because if we approve the treasurer's report, we'll be approving something in that too. So we'll skip that and do that after the old business. Mayor's report. I was unable to make it to the work session because when I got to work this morning, I was informed that I had to take a random DOT drug test at 5 o'clock. And if you say that you can't make it, that is on admission of guilt. You lose your driver's license and your job in one fell swoop. So I thought that I ought to hang around and take the drug test. So that's what I had to do. It's just one of these random things. Your name gets pulled and that's it. So that's where I was. Anything under attorney's
No,
report?
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioner and Community reports. Anything under building?
Nope.
Okay. Fire Department?
Nope.
Okay. Zoning?
Yes, we had a zoning board meeting to discuss vacating the town, two of the town streets. And the board voted to, the recommendation to the trustees is that we not give away town property.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Wait a minute. Yeah, also the cemetery.
Yes, okay.
Tara is not the commission. On the cemetery, we sold 16 lots, which is $800, or not lots, but spaces, which is $800. Wow. To Ken and Diane Asbury and to Deb Hefner. They bought 8 apiece.
Okay.
And also, we've updated the information as to who's buried and who's not buried and who's veterans. And also, we had to redo an old map in order to do this, but, and then Brad has agreed to take on the responsibility of providing us with a new map if it will work out. So
Okay.
we appreciate that.
Steve,
Okay? Thank you.
Steve, can
Oh,
I
sure.
ask James a question?
Sure.
Concerning the zoning board, could you give a report on what was done about electing a chairman? The minutes from the last month reflect that the mayor had requested y'all elect a chairman.
No, I didn't give a report.
That's what I'm asking, could you give a report on that, what y'all decided?
Let me think a minute.
I have the minutes if you
What
want
do we
to.
do?
We made the motion to do a chairman pro tem
Yeah,
until our reappointment in May.
yeah, we agreed to go with the pro tem, chairman pro tem.
That's what I believe that that's the
Until
way I believe.
reappointment in May.
Does the zoning ordinance not require y'all to elect a chairman after the first meeting in May each year?
That's when the chairman would be elected.
So we haven't done that this year?
We elected,
We elected chairman at the first meeting and then, and I resigned later. I was the chairman. And I resigned.
I don't
And then
remember an
we
election
agreed-
for a
Then
chairman,
we agreed to go with chairman pro tems.
but that's not an option in the ordinance.
it is.
Pro tem? I don't believe so.
We can, I quoted it, you were at the meeting, I quoted the section of the zoning code that gives us the authority to change, I'm trying to remember, it's section 8. We have the ability to administer the code and make changes to our procedures to fulfill the interpretation of the code. And so that allows us, if we choose, to do the chairman pro tem, which we made a motion and did. And I believe that's in section, it's not 8. Okay, section 18, Part B, Subpart 2, the zoning board of adjustment is a power to adopt any rules and regulations which it deems necessary to transact business or to expedite its functions, provided said rules and regulations are consistent with this provision code. We have a chairman. It's a chairman pro tem, and it rotates.
Did we not have somebody volunteer to be chairman?
We had someone volunteer to do it until the end of the year. Our terms go clear till our next appointment
So
in
I
May.
don't understand how that's in the best interest of the town to have that job or that position rotated when you had somebody volunteer to do it.
Well, the issue is we have new board members. The person who wanted to do the job is a brand new board member. And we had discussed this, that we felt it would be better if each of us took a turn at being the chairman. It tends to train you to be the chairman. Now, we elected to just to do this for this year. The next person up would be Mr. Bush. But James has been at once, Levi's been at once, I was at once, Mr. Bush is next, and then it will be...
Has this ever been done in the past?
No, it's never been done in the past.
So what's the reason for doing it now?
Because we felt it'd be a better way to do it.
Okay, does that answer your question?
It answers it. I'm not satisfied with the answer.
Well, you know, and technically, you know, if you go, I think by the ordinance, there are terms and people are supposed to rotate off, but you simply, in a town this size, you simply can't rotate people off because you'll end up with no zoning board.
One of the problems is if you have a single chairman and he isn't here, then someone else has to chair the meeting anyway. So if you get a meeting called and the guy in the next rotation isn't here, then we just skip to the next person, and then he chairs the meeting. And then when we have our next one, we'll go back so that every member gets an opportunity to be chairman.
And any trustee, the mayor, and the building inspector can call a meeting.
It doesn't have to be the chairman.
I realize that. The ordinance is pretty specific about electing a chairman each year. And I just don't understand the reasoning behind it when it's never been done before.
Well,
When you had somebody volunteer, and you've got people who are willing to step up and take these positions.
but he'd never been on the board, and that was his first
Did you
meeting.
review his previous experience?
Well, yeah, I know he's an architect, all right? But I don't know if he knows how to interpret the zoning code. That I don't know. You know, people think we just write that code at random. We're the zoning board of adjustments. We just adjust the code. That's all we do. We don't rewrite it. We interpret it.
Well, okay, when the next zoning board meeting comes up, Chris, if you would like this brought up again, or the zoning board will get it on the agenda if you think it was not done properly.
Fine.
That's just, you just tell me or tell the zoning board at the next zoning board meeting. And if you think it was improper, then the zoning board can take it up again. Okay? Okay, environmental health?
Yes, 2 systems are still in the process of being repaired or replaced. There is progress being made with both those systems. And I sent you the addresses. They'll be in digital for everyone to get this report if they'd like it at the board. The last system scheduled for inspection in 2016 has been completed, making us 100%. All delinquent inspections were also brought up to date this season. There will be around 36 inspections due in 2017. I would like to request copies of applications for new systems on a regular basis so that the information can be entered for when they are completed and begin use. I have never received any copies of any applications for OWTS. I can't keep track if I don't receive them. I would also like to request copies of all previous OWTS permits that can be found so that the information about the systems can be entered into the computer records. Perhaps the clerk or the town sanitarian can help implement this. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you. PHCA?
There's nothing for PHCA, nor is there anything for town hall.
Okay, thank you. Ditches? Okay, streets?
Gee, getting more gravel up here, I think, the next couple of weeks. And probably gonna meet with Sean real quick about snow plowing.
Okay,
He
okay,
meets with us every year.
okay, thank you. Parks and Rec?
Yeah, thank you. We're working on the Colorado Outdoor Recreation Grant from the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund. And I'm gonna need approval and support from the town to turn this grant in. So before I put all the work in, just wanted to check again to make sure you guys would support the project. And then someone from the town sign off on the grant that we submit, basically stating that we have appropriate matching funds, which we're working on ideas for fundraising right now. We've had a couple of great donations so far. And that the town supports or strongly supports the completion of the project and authorizes the designated official, which I guess would be me, to sign the grant agreement with Great Outdoors Colorado. So again, I just want to make sure we're supporting that before I put in the time to write the grant.
Well, we would probably need to put that on the agenda so we could talk about it. If you could kind of email me something with how you want it put on there or what we have to talk about.
So the problem is the grant is due November 5th. I apologize. I thought we had support. I just wanted to, again, just to confirm that because we talked about it briefly back in June or before that possibly, but I could put something together for people to read, if that would be helpful.
Well, as far as matching funds, are you going to be able to raise money because we can't vote to authorize money without a town meeting?
Sarah, did we have a chance to figure out what those funds were?
I know what is in the CTF fund, which is earmarked for Parks and Rec, cannot be used for anything else. We have a little over $11,500 right now in that fund. So depending on what the matching amount is, I think it was $15,000.
Yep.
The rest of that would need to be fundraised, and we actually are already $500 toward the fundraising goal. What would that be, $3,500?
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
So to answer the question, in the fund are the majority of the funds now. It would be a
Okay.
limited amount that would need to be fundraised.
Okay.
So the amount you need is 15,000?
Yes, yeah, so we are gonna request, 60,000 and we match 30% of that.
Okay.
60, that's 18,000.
Yeah, that's
That 18,000.
Oh, did I do my, what was it, for I'm sorry.
It's 30% matching, right?
Oh, that is 18, yeah. I think what we're gonna ask for, yeah, so we'll raise $18,000 then, yeah.
Okay.
Easy. So
Well, I don't think that anybody on the board is going to object, but I guess we can't talk about it and vote if it wasn't on the agenda.
Can you do that in the special edition?
Well, it wasn't posted though.
I don't think we need to vote on the money yet though, because we
Now,
don't think we've gotten the
if
grant
you've
yet.
got the 11,500 in Parks and Rec fund, then you can go ahead and spend that.
Mhm. Okay,
That is yours to spend. And this would be as good a project as anything. You know, so let's just leave it at that. I'll just leave it up to you.
okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Well,
Yeah.
Yes.
Quick thing, Steve, that's the fund balance, the budget hasn't been set yet, obviously.
But she's talking about money she already has.
That's the fund balance, every dollar.
Yes.
Not, like last year, the fund balance was 11,000, the budget was 2,000.
Yes.
So you can spend up to the budget amount.
So if we're
I mean,
going to,
and we can approve to spend the whole fund balance, I guess.
Yes.
But I'm just saying that, you'd have to budget the entire amount.
There's a good chance too that we'll fundraise more than the difference we need, and so even less of that fund balance will get used because we'll raise.
but I would suggest if you're intending to maybe use the entire fund, budget it, that we're going to do that next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, are there any more questions?
Right, so this wouldn't be awarded until
March.
March.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
When's the next cycle? Spring?
2017. Yeah, so it opened in August of 2016, the new cycle. Yeah, so we would be able to have access to it.
So the next cycle would open probably January and then,
No, it'll be like August of 2017.
okay.
So we would get funds for the next cycle of 2018.
You're only doing one, not two cycles?
I guess I'm confused, sorry.
I thought usually there was a fall cycle and a spring cycle.
Oh, yes, they have just one cycle. Yeah, they do it once a year.
Right.
Yeah, for this particular grant. Yeah, and we're pursuing other options as well too. Yeah.
Okay, Sarah?
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we'll go down to public comments. I had a couple here from Mrs. Rothmiller. Marie? Are you? Yeah.
That's right, real quick.
Mhm.
Concerning the vacation in 7th Street,
Yes,
it started here last month. It was referred to the board.
Yes.
Adjustments. So we were expecting that a final action would come back to this board. And it hasn't, and I'm wondering what's happening with that.
well, I talked with Brad several times, and he said he would contact the people and see if they wanted to go ahead and bring it to the town council. I did get a email from Michael Rupp, and he said that he was going to respect the zoning board and let it lie. And I asked about this one, And he says, well, Brad said he would let me know if he heard something, and I didn't. But it can be on the next month if you want to.
Where I'm confused here is when Mr. Sharpen gave his report, he said they were going to recommend that the vote against it by the trustees. When does that vote going to take place?
If he wants it to go to the town council, it'll be at the next meeting. But even if it was approved, it couldn't happen at the next meeting. It's got to be done by an ordinance. It has to be published and approved and voted on again. It's not a one meeting thing anyway.
Okay, well, I talked to Fred, and he said he'd like to take it further.
Okay, I'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
We were just waiting to hear from him.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
what else did you have?
I'll skip the middle one because I also had a question about the commission chairman, but I think I've been beat as far as I can for this moment. The next regularly scheduled meeting of this body is November the 8th, and that's also general election day. And I think that might be some question about some people being other commitments, not being able to attend, or whether they just like to be out, to see what's going on.
The polls close at 6, the meeting starts at 7.
Well, not everybody is done by 6, 7. I was just wondering if there was any possibility they might consider moving from Tuesday to Wednesday for the one month.
Well, I guess we'd have, well, let me, is there anybody here who's not going to be able to make it at 7 because of the election?
Well, normally I wouldn't, but if I have to be here to represent Fred, I guess I'll have to be.
Well, apparently you're the only one. I mean, nobody else raised their hand and said it was going to cause them a problem.
Okay. I just want to present it as a question of possibility.
Yes.
And-
Okay.
Okay, then I'm done.
All right.
I'll be here
Okay.
next month and we'll talk about the other thing further.
Okay then. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Steve,
Yes.
could we just get some clarification from the zoning board on the process? What Mark's asking about. So if they do an appeal, that's right, isn't that what they're asking
Okay.
for? What's the-
When I opened the meeting at the zoning board, I asked Steve, what are the trustees asking the board to do? All right, because we don't have authority as a zoning board to give away property. So Steve said we want a recommendation, so that's what the board did. All right, now we've made the recommendation.
Okay.
James reported it in this meeting. Of course, it was known at the end of the zoning meeting too, what the recommendation would be. So the town trustees are the ones who have authority to deal with vacating property and or selling property.
Right.
It's not a zoning board
My
decision.
question was, during the meeting or at the end of the meeting, the zoning board meeting, was it explained what the appeal process was to
I
the
can't-
applicants?
I can't remember, but I think it was.
Well, yeah, it was mentioned. I remember
Well, it'll just
Went back to
simply
the trustee.
be on the agenda at the next meeting. That, he says he wants to appeal it, so we're going to take it up. Yes.
So there's not a decision though to be appealed.
Yeah.
It's just a
It's
recommendation.
it's a
The board has to
recommendation.
make a decision
That
and
is
then they can
correct.
appeal if they don't like the decision that the board makes. Is that correct?
That is, if the board feels like the zoning, zoning board has acted in error, then
Well, the zoning
can
board
overturn it.
doesn't have the authority to
Right,
give
the
it
zoning
away.
board didn't make a decision.
they
give
made a
it away.
They gave a
recommendation. They
recommendation.
made a recommendation.
And I thought that what was supposed to happen then was it was supposed to be
Yes.
brought before the board.
Yeah.
The board takes into consideration the recommendation and then votes.
Yes.
That's what it's going to be.
Okay.
That's exactly what
So
it's going to be.
Shouldn't that
Should
be
have been.
automatic though?
Been on the agenda.
It's not automatic.
My
So the
position-
zoning board's recommendation is not automatically forwarded to the town council?
Wasn't it? I thought it was.
Who was acting as the chairman? You were acting as the
Okay,
chairman
I
for that
notified
meeting?
both parties. I
Yeah.
told the mayor. The mayor was in
I
attendance.
I talked to Brad several times and said, is this gonna have to be on the agenda? And the last thing I heard was, he said no. But that's okay. We will get it on the next meeting. 7th Street's been sitting there for umpteen years, and I don't think he's gonna do any, if he got it, he's not gonna do anything with it in the next month.
The zoning board was only asked to make a recommendation to the trustees.
Right.
And we will take it up at the next meeting.
Okay?
Oh, okay, that's no problem. Okay, down to old business. This isn't on the agenda, right? I looked at the minutes and it said that this contract for Jim Starr's municipal judge was tabled to next meeting. But apparently, we had approved the wrong ordinance and we have to approve a different ordinance, is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor, and under the circumstances, I would simply submit to you, put it on the agenda for next meeting. I've handed out a copy of the proposed ordinance, the new ordinance, to the members, Board of Trustees members present today, and it can be read and approved, or not approved, as the case may be, at the next meeting.
Okay, do I say approved new ordinance, new, or what should I?
I would put down, discuss and vote on an ordinance repealing ordinance number 3, Series 2015, and creating the Town of Pitkin Municipal Court, which coincidentally is the title right
Okay,
there.
well, we can get that straightened out in
Yes, sir.
an email. Okay, next is the vote on the ordinance for the clerks, for the clerk treasurer pay scale. Do we have where are we on this? Have we read the ordinance? It's been read and published. Oh, okay. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to read it? Are we ready to, after how many months, are we ready to approve this? Are there any more comments, questions on this clerk pay scale? Then I would ask for a motion and a second.
Make a motion to accept the ordinance 2016, number 3, pay schedule for clerk treasurer.
And I need a second.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion from Chris, a second from Eddie. Any further comments? Okay, all in favor of ordinance 2016-3, pay schedule for clerk treasurer, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have done that. Discuss on the oh, well, I was going to, I got it written down at the end of old business. I got it written. I'm going to finish the old business first. Okay, we're going to talk about town restrooms. Is there a report of any sort that we had a committee of 3 people that are working on it? We got-
He didn't come? Okay. Well, Pete and I and Ralph were working on this. I gathered some more information from after the last meeting. As I presented the last time, CTX Concrete can do a precast 2-person double vault delivered to Pitkin. They can either deliver it, set it up, or they can actually come and do the excavation and then set it up. The price without excavation was $44,950. It's $3,200 for the excavation, so if they excavated, it would be a total of $48,150. I also contacted another company. They have not responded by email. He did give me a call, and he said that for what we're looking at, their estimate was from $60,000 to $80,000
And
for
would-
basically the same thing.
Would these, now, this is for a vault,
This
correct?
for a vault.
How many times a year does this have to be pumped?
Well, according to the information they provided me, is that you would get about 18,000 uses out of that, one out of each side. So in other words, it could accommodate about 36,000 uses.
Would that, I don't want to get into technicalities, but would that cover our 19,000 gallons,
Well,
or 1,900 gallons that we had in this?
so
We had pumped.
based on what we paid this last, so the estimate from Schmaltz, just for the
Yeah.
dumping part of it. So the estimate from Schmaltz was anywhere from $800 to $1,000 for up to 2,000 gallons.
Okay, okay,
Okay. I did also get an estimate from Valley Precast over in Buena Vista
yeah.
for just the vaults, concrete vaults. For 2 1,000-gallon vaults delivered to Pitkin, we're looking at about $1,500 each. So for the 2, it'd be about $3,000 just for the vault. Then we'd have to do the slab, do a building, etc.
But if we did that, could we do the slab and the building and save money?
Well, we'd need to get an estimate on what
Yeah,
it
we
costs to
have-
build it.
Yeah.
Right. And I also contacted the city of Gunnison. They have used CTX concrete multiple times.
Yeah.
They said they've had very good luck with them. They've done a great job, and they have several of their units throughout the city of Gunnison.
I've kind of seen some new ones around recently. Up Taylor, the Gunnison City Park has got a new one.
They also put one out at Van Tile. Jared told me several different places, and I can't remember all of them now that they placed them. In fact, they're just getting ready to do another one. And he said the single ones are probably, you're looking around 25,000 for just a single person, single ball. So there again, that's something that we can consider. I think as a group, as a committee, we're still working on it.
Okay.
We can try to get an estimate on what it would cost to do a building, so we can have that too.
Because I didn't, if we wanted to do anything for next year, we need to get it in the budget. I don't know how we're going to hide $50,000 in this budget. That's going to be a tough one. We'll have to sharpen the pencils and buy extra calculator batteries.
And I'm not making a recommendation to do this, I'm just trying to provide
Yes, I know, you're
information.
just providing us with information. Does anybody have any questions for Eddie over?
I think the vaults from Valley Precast sound like a lot better option than get the contractor just quote doing a floor and a building. Because that building needs to be, precast walls or something, right? And not a wooden, something that can be worked out.
My recommendation on, and the reason for the precast for most of the systems going with that, I think, is because one, it's not indestructible, but they're pretty tough. And when you realize the vandalism that occurs in public restrooms, we want something that's not going to fall apart. And also, as far as the cleaning aspect, we talked about that before. With the precast, you could pull up there with a steam cleaner, clean it out pretty quick and easy. If it's wood or something like that, then you have to be concerned about deterioration and that. So,
And these are not flushing toilets.
no, this is a vault
This is
toilet.
a-
There's
this
no
is-
water. What I priced was no water, no
Yeah.
electricity.
Yeah.
Basically, they have skylights, and that's it. But if if you have a question about what they're like or whatever, what I can do if you want is I'll find the addresses of the ones that Gunnison have put out, and you can go by and look at them and see. There's been concern expressed about the smell or whatever, so short of taking a field trip,
Well, we can each take a field trip.
there you go.
Yeah, if you could give the addresses. then we'd be
I'll get
kind
the
of-
addresses and I'll give them to Sarah and she can.
Chris?
Sarah's got it.
Sorry, Eddie, I was just gonna ask, would you mind emailing me your
Mhm.
notes, because I don't know if I got all the numbers.
So we currently have an ordinance that prohibits vaults in town. How do we deal with that?
We would have to give ourselves variance like anybody else. That's what, because yes, we do have it is not legal to put in a vault, but if somebody came to us and said, here's my problem, blah, 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 will you talk about it or consider it? Then yes, we would.
So is there a history of why vaults have been prohibited? I mean, I know there are some in town, but
Yes, we do.
I think
what's the history?
I believe the issue is when you pump water out of the ground and then you use it and dump it in a vault. And then somebody pumps the vault and hauls the water somewhere else. I think that's the issue. I'm not 100% positive, but I think that's the issue.
I guess I'm not sure when you say pump water out of the ground. In
Well,
other words,
you have a well, okay, if you have this on your house, you got a domestic well, you got a flush toilet.
Right.
All right,
Okay.
so you
Right.
pump water out of the ground, you flush the toilet, goes in the vault. The guy pumps the vault and hauls the water somewhere else.
yeah,
And I think the state law says I gotta put that water back in the ground nearby where I pumped it out, right, Eddie?
well, I'm not sure about that because in Regulation 43, vaults are
Yeah, but that's,
accepted. So
yeah, but
does
that's,
that address what the water?
well, that's,
That's a
I think
different
the issue is on the water side on our wells.
But I'm not understanding,
But I'm
we're
not
not gonna
sure.
put flush toilets in, we're gonna have like a pit toilet, right?
Right, so this isn't like using a vault on a residential house.
Right.
Because in a residential house, you want a flush toilet, nobody wants to go outside to go to the bathroom. in
And
the
you're
winter.
going to have other water
And you're
going
gonna have
into the
other,
vault.
right. And I think that's the issue with vaults on flush toilets and other household water.
Well, and there's a lot of issues like that that can come up. I mean,
And I
you're
don't know.
you're not supposed to use water out of the shower to water your flowers with, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
There's all kinds of
And I'm
water
not-
regulations.
And I don't know, but I think that's the issue. And maybe we need to investigate it. We're not gonna use water.
So
In
that
the-
should help alleviate that
Yes.
concern. So.
In the past, we've had vaults here in town that never got pumped. And you know what that means? When one is never pumped. That means somebody knocked the bottom out when they, put it in. So we try to weed those out,
And at some point, even that one is going to back up into the residence.
yes.
So there's
Okay.
pros and cons to it.
Yes, there
What
are.
I look at was, as far as trying to address the problem that we have in the town of Pitkin, the easiest way possible, and without putting in a full-blown septic system and a water system
Yes,
Yeah.
and everything that goes with that. That's
Well,
what I put together.
I
If you want to further investigate, we can certainly do that too. So.
I have seen these new units like you're talking about, like Gunnison's bought, and they're very nice looking units. You know, they don't look like a green outhouse.
Is that what they have at Oddfellows Park, Eddie? The IOOF?
I think it might be.
I think so.
It seems like. And there again, if there's one within the city of Gunnison, within the city limits, the city had to grant themselves a variance because they have the same kind of requirements. They're not going to typically allow a vault toilet in the city of Gunnison. So
Yes.
they've gone through the same process.
Okay, well, I will put this on, we'll talk about it again at the next meeting. Okay, we're down to discuss and vote on code of conduct. Rachel, where are we on this? Have we published it, or?
Yes, so the last meeting, the changes were suggested by Mr. Wick to clarify the section concerning our comments in public hearings. And also, I think that was the major one. And I changed it, but Susie had asked that I put it back up in the edited, just a couple sentences that were changed, and
Okay.
I never got it back in the post office. So it's not changed, except for the additions we discussed in the last meeting, but I didn't get it redistributed to the public, so if it's better to vote on it next month and get it distributed, that's fine. But since it's a resolution, we don't technically have to do that. They've read it, with the exception of the sentences that were edited to reflect Brad's comments, so I leave it to your judgment.
What does the attorney think?
It's your call.
My call? Well, I think we ought to wait and make sure everybody has read the corrected copies,
Okay,
Or had the opportunity.
or had the opportunity. I don't want anybody to say that they changed a couple of sentences and I didn't get to see it.
okay.
So let us just err on the side of doing it right. Okay, now we're down to the treasurer's report, if you would like to give that.
Does anybody have any questions about the treasurer's
Yes.
report?
Has everybody had a chance to look it over?
I think there might have been one or two, the fire department was new after the first time I sent it, and then I think that's it. I think everything else should have been on there from the original time that I sent it out to the board for review.
Okay, if there aren't any questions on the treasurer's report, I would ask for the board to approve the disbursements for September as presented.
I'll move to make disbursements as presented for September.
I have a motion from Brad. Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a second from Eddie. Any more questions? Okay, all in favor of approving the disbursements for September, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now I can sign checks here. We'll get a chance. Okay, now we're down to the response to the conference call with the state. And who's got that?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I guess I will speak. At the work session, there was discussion with regards to the appropriate manner in which to respond to the state. I identified the manner in which I thought that I should craft a letter responding to their request for response. And the goal would be for me to draft a letter, preferably within the next 10 days, circulate that letter to each member of the board through the clerk, and then if any of the board members have comments, I would either incorporate their comments into the revised letter or not, and identify why not to that board member. My thought would be then, once it's finalized, I could resend it out to the board from the clerk, and I could just do it thumbs up, thumbs down. If there's a majority of the board says, yeah, it's good to go, then off it goes. And if not, then that letter would be addressed at the next regular town meeting. Our response is due by the end of the year. In addition to drafting the letter, I will speak at least once or twice with the state attorney to tell her where we're at and identify really the substance of the letter, and see if there's any input that she has in terms of making it so that it's a win-win scenario.
Okay, so basically, we're gonna have to wait till this letter is sent out, right?
That is our
Okay.
next task, Mr. Mayor.
I just want to make sure that I understand it.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So are we ready to move on?
I believe so, Your Honor,
Okay.
or Mr. Mayor, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
The only thought is, do you want to vote to allow me to draft it, or just, I don't know that it's necessary at this point, but I just,
I don't think we need to. We
Okay.
just need to vote after we get it, so.
okay, will do.
All right, okay, thank you. Okay, now we're down to the 2017 budget. I know that Sarah has got a proposed, but there are things that are going to have to be added to this budget, because I just handed her one just a few minutes ago. So there will be things that are going to have to be added.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
may I talk?
sure.
Okay. regarding the sound system for public meetings, I made some investigations, primarily online at a company named Sweetwater.com, and they are really into public speaking sound systems. And I pulled together an estimate of what it would cost to put 2 speakers on each wall over here, put in a lectern, have a speaker in front of the lectern so we can hear, and have a powered mixer and put 6 to 8 mics on the table, one on the lectern. That's going to come down to about $3,000. Okay, that's the first one. I also looked into something for the town to create and manage its own website, like a pitkin.gov website. The design cost for something like that's a one-time expense, is between $1,500 and $2,000, depending on how elaborate we get. The monthly maintenance fee is about $50, and $50 to $75. And the content updates, we could task Sarah to do with some training. Okay?
I see.
They're not that difficult to add minutes and
Okay.
like that. We would need to sit down. There's a couple companies in Gunnison that could do that. High Elevation Web and Design and Marketing. Steve Haas, Haase. I believe he manages the county's website. And I asked him to go look at Swatch, because they're kind of a town like us, and they got not a terribly elaborate site, but a pretty good one. And he's the one who gave me these estimates. We could also go to Midnight Marketing Solutions, Rob Strickland. That's Midnight Marketing Solutions, and he could do the same thing. But it's about $2,000 upfront cost, one-time expense, and then about $900 to $1,000 to maintain it.
Is that per year?
Per year.
Oh, okay.
So that would be another $3,000 to the budget.
Well, this is something that, yeah, we'll have to,
If we decide. I'm not
Yes.
saying that we need to do it, but if we want to plan for it, that's what it would cost.
I think it would be better we'd have more control of our own website.
Well, it would put Sarah at putting the updates in and
Okay,
in control of what's on it. Yeah.
okay. Okay, thank you. Is any, yes?
Yeah, I have a question for Brad, since you brought all that up.
Yeah.
You were gonna head up a committee with CenturyLink. Have we done anything?
We had done nothing. I can't get their attention. Okay.
Yeah, could
I can't,
I just want to make a suggestion.
Yeah, sure.
The county is currently working with a grad student at Western on the whole notion of redundancy and of the internet feed, and you might talk with the county and/or that student. I don't have his name offhand, but I could get it for you.
okay.
About seeing if this could be included as a part of that program. Is this going to be, they're talking about running a brand new fiber optic line from Salida to Denison. And, you know, if something added on to that up here could be accomplished, you know, it'd probably be a small part of what they're doing, but certainly a big help to us.
Well, it's certainly worth looking into. Can we look into something like that, or?
We could talk to them, and if, you know, I just can't seem to get their attention. And I've
Okay.
sent calls and nothing's come back, so short of going there and
Yeah. And then,
being there and finding them is what it's gonna take.
and then, once you get there, the person you may have to see is conveniently not in.
Yes, so I will
Okay.
continue to work on it.
Okay, anything else on the budget? I mean, we got 2 more months. We can talk about it at the November meeting, and then we vote on it at the December meeting, so. And Sarah has some more numbers to crunch because more things have been added. So, yes.
Is it online, so anybody could access it or not?
Not the draft.
Okay.
No.
I think it'd be a good idea to get the budget out there so the citizens can take a look at it and see
Okay.
what we're looking at. So they're not sitting out there as we're up here making these decisions about their money.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Susie?
Yeah.
I just, after being on the board for so many years, I'm used to looking at that treasurer's report and,
Yeah.
I don't get any, is there any way to have information for the public on those things like that were just approved tonight?
Well, what I have kind of been advised is that until it's been voted on, that you shouldn't make it public until it's voted on. Is
But
the
is it
proper
made-
procedure.
But is it made public?
After it's voted on, yes.
Oh, is it?
It's, no, it has not regularly been provided. John did just ask me tonight to start sending him the approved treasury
That'd be good.
reports, so
Okay.
they'll be at least on pickandnews.com.
Yes.
Is it appropriate to publish a draft budget for 2017?
I don't know.
I don't know why it would be inappropriate.
We did it in Gunnison. We let people look at it, so. I mean, basically, the way it worked there is the departments all got together, developed a budget,
Yeah.
and then there was multiple meetings with the city council, but the public could get a copy to look at, so.
I think that's great. It's because it's gonna be a lot of work. It's way out of balance, and it's gonna be further out of balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thought, Mr. Mayor, is this really begs the question of whether or not you want to put it off to the next meeting, or you want to do a work session specifically to address the budget.
Well, I think if we did, we would do it after the November meeting and before the final meeting. Because we got one more other things may come in between now and then. What does the board think about that? Possibly having a work session after the November meeting. We can talk about it,
Or devote a significant portion of time in the November meeting to the budget.
Yeah, well, and we can, and at the November meeting, if somehow we can hassle this out, but we're gonna have to come with sharp pencils and extra calculator batteries.
Well, and maybe to follow up on, I like that idea too, and maybe try and limit the other stuff on the agenda to things that we really need to address at that meeting
Yes,
and the budget.
well, we'll see how things go, but yeah, because I just gave, Sarah just got a couple of new items here at this meeting. And we'll see how this looks, so. Is there anything else on the budget? Jesse?
One question, please. What did we spend this year on porta potties versus these?
$2,200.
$24.60.
That's what we spent.
So I was curious if it covered the interest or whatever.
That's what it came to, so. Okay, we've come to the end of the agenda. I will adjourn the meeting at 7:55.